In this Space Claim tutorial, I'll show you, now that we've made the bulk of half of a surfboard, how I can complete the very end of it. Now, there's a reference plane that I put in the middle. We'll go ahead and get back to that and start a sketch by clicking right on it. Now, at this point, I don't want the sketch, I don't want the preview of the curves that Space Claim is trying to generate. Those are just sort of getting in the way. They're not exactly what I want, the fit curves, so we'll go ahead and turn those off on the left-hand side. So I really want to draw out the profile right through the middle here, and basically it consists of a couple of lines, a vertical line. I'll draw one right here, and I want it to be tangent, and so I can achieve tangency just like that by dragging it along the right direction. When I'm done with that, I'll connect a spline in the middle. Now the spline's going to start somewhere, this is around where it looks like it deviates from that line. If I hold down the Alt key, then I'm ensured the spline that I'm starting is parallel or is collinear to that first line. So we'll start clicking on some points. You really can't put too many in here, but don't go crazy with too many. So when I'm done, I hold down the Alt key to solidify the last point and put that on that vertical line. The lines I need to trim back, so we give you a trim tool in Space Claim. T is as in trim on your keyboard. You could use that as well. And just click on the excess segments and you're done. Alright, let's go back into a 3D mode and hide the mesh for a moment, because really what I'm after is connecting this half of the edge, not the entire edge, with the one that you see. But a couple things I need to get in order. I really want this curve I generated, which is 3 curves, I really want it to be 1. So let's Control select all 3 segments, go into the Repair tab and say Fit Curves. And I can generate a brand new spline that's an approximation of those 3 segments. Let's drop this down a little bit to get it a bit more precise as to how it was. We'll click a green checkbox, and I'm done. If I go into the Select tool, click on it, I've got a nice smooth curve. Now, I really only want to do half the model and then mirror everything over. So to get me half the model, I use the Combine tool and to chop it in half. That sounds a little counterintuitive, but Combine stands for combination. You click the body you want, and I'm cutting in this case. It merges and cuts, and I click my reference plane to cut it in half, and then I could delete this if I wanted to. Let's just go ahead and hide it for a moment. I hit S on the keyboard for select, and we'll hide that away. Now remember what I said. I'm really trying to connect this edge and this curve. If I'm in the Pull tool and I Control select them and go to that blend option, by the way, if you move your mouse too far away and that mini toolbar is gone, you can always find those options over here. Now that's not exactly what I want. That's not quite precise enough, so let's get one more level of control going. We'll bring that mesh back, and I want to start another sketch, and I'm going to draw in a guide curve. It's very simple to do. Let's just start my sketch along that plane. That's not exactly where I want it, but it's a starting point. I use that third button to move my sketch. Let's drag the yellow ball over to the center and start rotating the sketch around. A double click will get me 90 degrees. It'll toggle it. I want to move it up, and I want to draw in a curve that goes right around here. Okay, I'm going to hide the mesh for just a moment so to make it a little easier to see. I want to draw in a spline. It's just going to be a 3-point spline that's going to start right there. Now my middle point, I need to bring the mesh back, and we'll click somewhere right along the middle. Okay, that's good. Now I'll hide the mesh again to make things easier to see, and we'll terminate it right there. In fact, I could hit the Alt key if I wanted to make a tangent, but I'm just going to go ahead and click it without making any kind of tangent. See, there's 3 points. I hit Escape, and I'm done. So that's really all I need to recreate this. Let's go back into a 3D mode. Now here's where you can add even a further level of control. I click the curve, I Control select the edge, and go to Blend. Alright, if I hold down the Alt key and select this face, I'm telling Space Claim I want that curve to be tangent, or I want that surface to be tangent to the one I've just selected. I also want it to follow this curve, so instead of holding down just Alt, I need to hold down Alt and Control, because I'm adding to my selection. So with Alt and Control selected, I click the curve. Now I'm going to click on it a couple times. I'm deselecting it and selecting it, and hopefully you can see the difference in what it's doing and how it really changed the bottom of it down here. Let's click the green checkbox to solidify that. And I basically have what I'm looking for. So the rest of this is a plug and chug operation. If you've used Space Claim before, you can probably figure out how to create the rest of it. Let's bring back the remaining solid. I need to merge those two together, so I select one, go to my merge option and select the original, and I'm done. I also need to mirror across that little surface body. So the first step in mirroring is to select the plane that I want to mirror. I could keep on create mirrored relationships and merge mirrored objects. I'm just going to take that second option off and click my surface, and that's copied over to the other side. Let's go into the select tool and maybe hide that reference plane for a moment. And the curves I can delete. Alright, so I'm getting closer. In order to turn this into a solid, a complete solid, I may want to go and delete that inside face, or actually the end face of the solid. Let's just right click and say delete. So now there's two surface bodies in the tree. I need to go to the Repair tab and stitch them together. It finds an edge to stitch, and I know I have a big missing face. So with the patch option on, I click that, and now I've got a complete solid that represents the very end of this. You know, and there's further levels of control you could put on this model. For example, if you wanted these faces all merged together, you could probably start going into the Repair tab, select both those faces and say Merge Faces in the green checkbox. Generally, this is going to make whatever surfaces you have into a brand new spline. We'll try to do these two, and my general recommendation is try just two surfaces at once. Don't try to do 100 of them at one time. It really can bog down the system. But that's really how simple it is to do in Space Claim. So thank you very much for watching.